Well, first, thank you so much for joining me today and sitting down.
For the invite. It's like, oh.
Thank you for coming on, and I know you're busy. Tell us. I like to get to know before you were a realtor. What the two previous jobs, or at least the one previous job that said, "I'm done with this career. I'm going to go into real estate." What were you doing before real estate?
I was in the military.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was in the military.
Wow. All right.
Well, actually, no, I was in the military, and then I was a correctional officer.
Okay.
For about a year.
Yeah.
And that's when I said what you said. Fuck this shit.
I'm out. Yeah.
Like, it was just so stressing, and it was so depressing
Yeah.
at the same time. And it was like 8 hours of your life that you're in one of
misery, kind of like
well, not misery.
for them.
I mean, I respect the job. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's 8 hours of your day that you're like a prisoner too.
Yeah.
I mean, you're there just waiting for something to happen, and if nothing happens, then that's the day.
You're like, oh, thank you. That was awesome.
Well, if you were me, I'd be like, nothing happened. Like,
where's the action?
Yeah, so I mean, you see it in the movies and all that stuff. Well, there's nothing like that.
Prison Break and everything. I was like, no, nothing like that.
American Me and all that never happened.
Nothing.
But so I was in the military. I was in the Navy.
Awesome.
And I was a correction officer in Yuma, in Yuma State Prison.
Yeah.
Then I actually moved here to be a correction officer because they paid more here.
Mm-hmm.
But then they're like, oh, you got to do the academy again. And I'm like, yeah, right. Like, be test again, be maced again. I'm like, yeah, no, I'm not up for that. But I did sign up.
I did say yes regardless.
I did say yes. And, but then I had to wait like 3 months. And then I found this, I'm like, what am I going to do for 3 months? And I found there was a real estate job. It was like a data entry job at a real estate office. And I'm like, you know what? By the time they called me, I was like, you know what? I'm going to stay here.
Yeah.
Like, I'm okay here. I make enough money, like close to what I was going to make anyways.
Yeah.
But I'm not getting the risk of getting stabbed or anything. So I'm like, I'm going to stay here. And then I've been doing real estate since.
Okay. So why did you join? Let's go back into the Navy. Why did you join the Navy? It was just like,
I was upset with my mom.
Okay. Hey, I like the honesty. Awesome. Hey, I love this.
If you knew why I was upset, you'd be like, you brat. I was upset because she didn't buy me a car.
Oh my gosh. So you're like, you know what? I'm going to do the thing that's going to piss you off the most.
I didn't even tell her I was leaving to the military. Like, she didn't even know until the night I left. And I didn't tell her.
Bro.
My girlfriend at that time called my mom and told her, hey, your son is leaving. She showed up, and like 10 minutes later, I'm out. Like, I bounced. And I left.
That's some balls, bro.
That is, yeah.
Especially to a Latin mother, like.
Well, I was upset.
I didn't get a car, so I didn't give a shit.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that.
Oh my God. Okay, so give me one lesson.
I wasn't like that.
Give me one lesson you learned from the Navy that you still like.
Discipline.
Okay. All right.
Very disciplined.
Yeah.
I'm very organized.
Yeah.
I'm like, down to the T.
Mm-hmm.
I always have a saying, like, people laugh at me, but I follow rules or people die.
Yeah.
That's what I learned. So I just follow rules.
Yep.
But discipline is actually what got me where I'm at. That was able to help me to do what I've done. Mm-hmm. So that's the most thing I took out of it.
So then from the Navy, you joined correction officer.
Yeah.
I
have a cousin that he's a detective, but he always wanted to be law enforcement.
Yeah.
And then I remember when I got there, he's like, hey, let's go apply to Yuma. I used to live in El Centro, California.
That's where my dad lives.
Yeah, well, that's where I'm from.
Oh, wow.
And then he's like, hey, let's go apply at the Yuma State Prison. And we're like, yeah, sure, why not?
Why not?
Like, I wasn't doing anything. I'm like, yeah, sure. And we ended up signing up, and we went, and they sent us to Tucson. And, we did the academy together, and then they sent us back to the same prison. We worked at the same prison.
That's so cool.
And then he stayed there for a few, I think a year or two more after I left. But then he became a police officer in Imperial.
Okay, yeah.
And then now he's a detective for the state of California or something like that.
That's freaking awesome.
And I'm over here. Like,
just slinging houses.
Yeah.
A realtor.
Yeah.
Okay, so how was that transition from a correction officer worrying about your life being in danger? Mm-hmm. Like, am I going to make it home? How was that transition from, I guess, a dangerous job to like, oh man, this job is like...
You know what? I didn't see it as such.
Okay.
I mean, although it is, don't get me wrong. Like I said, I respect the profession. it is a dangerous job, but I guess I was so young I didn't see it.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't care.
Like whatever.
I'm here, But to be honest with you, like my most fear came from I wasn't even scared of the inmates. I was more scared of the officers than the inmates.
What?
Yeah.
Wait. Why?
Well, I mean, you've seen the movies, right? Like they all got deals going on, I don't know. So I didn't want to get in
some shit's happening in the background.
Like I don't know if like some officers that have been there for years, like they have their little, inmate friends or whatever.
Yeah.
Like I didn't want to get in the middle of that,
I don't want to get shot.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. So my biggest fear was like betrayal.
Yeah.
More than confrontation. Like I can take an inmate, but I don't know. Like what? I would not expect that, and
gotcha.
that was my biggest fear. I mean. Nothing happened, obviously.
I'm here.
But,
So let's talk now about your first year in real estate. How hard was it? What did you learn?
So my first year in real estate, I was a listing coordinator.
Okay.
I was just a desk guy going out back in the days. I'm talking about back in 2005.
Okay. Yeah, wow.
Literally, back in the day was... with the little measuring thing, see how much the wall to wall, writing down on the data sheet. We had a data sheet. We had to write everything down.
Yeah.
We had to turn in the data sheet, so we had to use it. Measuring the rooms because we didn't have an MLS, so we didn't know the previous MLS. Now all the data is there, so we use the same data, although we shouldn't. Some people do.
Take notes, guys. Take notes.
But it was measuring, taking photos. But my biggest challenge has always been descriptions.
Okay.
Like I used to have a boss that I used to write the descriptions for the properties, and it was like immaculate home and this and that, and he used to scratch all of it, and I was so upset. Like you gotta be more creative. I'm like, I'm not fucking creative.
I'm not a writer. Jeez.
Yeah, I mean, And then until one point, I remember there was this house on Rico. It was 500 Rico. I remember the house. And it was destroyed.
It was ugly.
It was ugly.
Shit house.
It was like, ugly. It's over there by MLK and D Street and somewhere over there. It was 500
For those of
Rico.
you watching, that's the hood.
Yeah, 500 Rico. I remember because I wrote the description so badass that agents called and said, dude,
what the fuck are you doing?
This is a messed up home. I'm like, look, if you don't see potential in this, I said, then what the hell are you doing? Because I wrote the description like if the house was immaculate, right? And the house was like cement, like it was empty and it was like no flooring or nothing. But I'm thinking I wrote it like, this is, if you think about it, you picture the home the way it says.
So you were
like,
Chat GPT before it came out.
Yeah, I know. I was like, I'm like going like 10 years ahead of you, brother. So that was.
Do you see the potential or not, bro? Get the hell out if you don't.
If you read it, like people wanted to see the house and they got there, I'm like, what is this? So we actually got a call that, hey, this does not match us. I'm like, it does if you put a little imagination to it. But they didn't have that.
It was nothing what I described.
Yeah. But I didn't lie.
Yeah, that's good. No lie. Good,
I just,
good.
put a little spice in it.
So would you say your first year in real estate was easy, difficult?
It was easy.
Yeah.
It was easy. I'm an easy learner. Mm-hmm. I'm a fast learner too. So I was able to learn a lot the whole first year. My job in the military had to do with data. I used to manage budgets for the Navy, for the fleet and stuff like that. So numbers and all that I'm good with that. And I had to deal with entering data right away, computer based. So it was really simple for me. I mean, just the biggest challenge was learning the acronyms for, bedrooms and this and that. But, it didn't take me that long. So it was pretty simple the first year. And then after that, obviously, I moved on to escrow coordinator. So now I dealt with the transactions rather than just the listings. And I just kept moving up from there. But it wasn't hard.
So fast forward now, where are you at right now in your business? Do you have a team? How does that look like? What is that structure?
I have a team. I started my team probably about 4 years ago. I think it was 19. I used to manage real estate offices. So my job was pretty much to build production, build a team structure, flow the files and all that stuff. And then it got to a point like, where do I go from now? Like, what do I do? And I was like, you know what? It's time for me to build my own team. And a lot of people told me, like, because they're like, dude, it took you a long time. I'm like, I know.
Like you should have done sooner.
Yeah, I know. But I'm like,
Let's talk about, because I'm pretty sure there's realtors that might be watching this that I think reach out to me.
Yeah.
That are thinking about like, man, should I start a team or should I? What does that thought process look like?
You know what? I was lucky enough to be able to, when I started my team. So before I started my team, I was managing a real estate office. I'm sure you're familiar with Nora.
Yeah. Nora, get it. Yeah.
So I was managing Nora's office. Nora and another realtor, I'm not going to say his name, but they both had an office, and I used to manage that office. When Nora left that office, I was in a predicament whether do I stay or do I go.
Okay.
Because I wanted to follow Nora.
Yeah.
Because I love Nora to death. And the other owner offered me something, and I told Nora, I said, Nora, this is what, can you help me out? Like, do you want me to go, but not? And she's like, mijo, stay. Like, I can't offer you that right now. So I stayed for a year. I told her I'll stay for a year, then I'll go, with you, whatever. Not with her team, but at the company where she was going to. Yeah. And so what this other agent offered me was like, look, you can start working your business, because that's what I wanted to do. Work your own business, but I'm still gonna feed you business.
Okay.
So I had the luxury, or I had the opportunity, but more than anything was more the peace of mind. I had the peace of mind that I had his business and be able to work on my business, so I wasn't so much worried about if I don't make any business. Yeah. So that helped me actually build business because I was comfortable. I wasn't upset or depressed or like worried if I'm going to make the checks or whatever, because I had that business. So that really helped me. Now, if you ask me if I would have done that without that, maybe not. So because I was that kind of person that, like, I remember back when I started, I became a salesperson in 07 or 8, somewhere in there, and I totally messed that up. Like, I had no idea what I was doing. Yeah. I mean, I knew what I was doing as far as real estate, but I didn't know what I was doing as far as money management goes. Gotcha. So my first year, you make money, and then all of a sudden you're like bankrupt. Yeah. It's like, you're like taxes or like, exactly. Yeah. So I had gone through that already, where I was a W-2, and then all of a sudden I went to a 1099, and I messed that up. So I already failed once in it. So I was more scared to do it again because I knew I had already failed in it, right? So, but with this help that I was getting, I felt more a peace of mind that I was like, you know what? I'm going to do it. I got this, and then I'm going to work on this. And obviously a year later, I decided to move on because I was going to move on, and I opened my team, and I've been doing that since. Nice. Yeah.
So are you a listing agent, buyer's agent? You know how like people have that, or you're whatever comes, or
I don't consider myself a listing agent. Okay. I do it. I don't consider myself, though. And I was just telling somebody the other day, is like, I don't look for listings. I get them, but most of them are referred or something, or they come to me, and that's in different situation. So I'm more of a buyer's agent. Okay. I rather deal with an emotional buyer, because I'm emotional, than deal with a seller that's fighting over pennies.
That makes sense.
So, like, I'm going to avoid that because I think it's ridiculous. So I'm just dealing with this emotion rather than deal with the pennies. Yeah. So that's why I don't look for that business. But I do get some, obviously, but that's not my forte. Gotcha. Like, people call expires and all this. Yeah. Like, I don't call it.
That's not your jam.
I'm not going to deal with that.
Do you have people on your specific team that actually do that? Or no? So you guys are just... for lack of you guys are buyers agents, but you guys will take the occasional listings.
Of course,
that come. You guys aren't going to say no, of course.
Yeah, because most of the listings that I'm taking, like, I don't have competition. Yeah. Like, they come to me, and
that's easy. Yeah. It's like, hey.
Yeah, and they understand, and we have a relationship, or if I've never met them before, I build that relationship, and I always upfront with them, I do this, and I do it like this, and that, and, they agree, and everything is good. But I never had to deal with an issue of, well, your commission, or, well, what you said, I was going to make 155 and I got 153.
Are you going to give me the rest? I'm not
really. So, yeah, I don't deal with that.
So now, okay, let's kind of shift a little bit, because I've noticed, and this is kind of how we met on social media. when did you say I'm going to get serious about content on social media, and why did you do that?
If you look at my my Instagram, if you go like way down on the first videos
Yeah.
I submitted, when I started my team, when I was telling you that
Mm-hmm.
no, I left and all this, I'm like, I had to start doing social media. Now I didn't know social media was gonna be my bread and water, but you know, I mean, I started with Zillow, to be honest with you.
Okay.
When I started my business, I mean, like, how do I get business? My first thought was I'm gonna be a Zillow Premier agent.
Yeah.
And that's how I started my business. Obviously, after a little bit, then I was able to get more referrals, and I was lucky enough to meet a friend of mine, Stella. She's a lender with America First Credit Union. That I helped her. You know, she was one of her first clients. I was able to represent her on a purchase, and she after that she sent me like so much business.
That's awesome.
So you know that actually helped me a lot. Also to step away and say, you know what, I think I'm good for now. And then also step away from the Zillow Premier agent because obviously we're putting money into this, but then I didn't have to anymore.
Yeah.
And I was able to build my community, my referral business. And then I said, well, what am I gonna do? And then you know I like educating and all this, so I started doing videos, horrible videos. I mean, if you look at my videos, like I was sweating, the lighting was bad, the audio was bad, the information I was
Like everybody's
it
first
was like
video.
so fast,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
you know, I was nervous.
Yeah.
But I tell the guys like, do it, put it out there, because my biggest fear, to be honest, and this is what I tell like agents in my office when they ask all the time, is like my biggest fear was it was the realtor.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't the community, it was the realtor going into my video and saying, you suck,
Yeah.
or you're wrong,
Yeah.
or that was my biggest fear.
Yeah.
Again, we go back to the betrayal, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then when I saw that like nobody cared, it was like, okay, then you know I don't see nobody commenting, so I just started doing my videos, and then little by little I kept seeing them and improving them, and you know, obviously taking to where they're at now.
Yeah.
Which there's still more improvement, but you know,
course, yeah.
eventually, you know, we'll get there.
That's what I tell realtors often is that you're your biggest critic,
Yeah.
and you're gonna be like putting yourself down. I don't like how I sound. I don't like how I look.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that's how you sound and that's how you look. Right?
Yeah, yeah.
So the quicker, and this is what I tell them all the time, the quicker that you get comfortable with how you look and how you sound,
Yeah.
it's
That's
just
all
gonna
it-
be like night and day.
And just now, I read this message. I was driving, and then somebody sent me a message on Messenger, and he said, en español, dijo, ay carajo muchacho, no cabe duda, tu carisma, inteligencia te ha llevado al éxito, felicidades, has trabajado mucho para llegar ahí, lo he visto. Dice, y yo, thank you.
Translate that for my Caucasians that are watching.
Oh, you want to translate it? Hold on. He
He's
goes-
amazing, basically.
He just said, yeah, he said, hey, you know, because I known him for my whole life. And
Yeah.
he said, hey, you know, without a doubt, with your charisma, intelligence, and, you know, it's taking you to be successful, you know, congratulations on your
Yeah.
hard work and all this. And, you know, it pays off, you know, being, I always tell the people, like, when you do videos, like, do you.
Exactly.
Like, don't
Be yourself.
try to impress nobody. Just do what you do. You know, just be you, and people will relate to you, not to the content so much, but to you. Like if they call you, it's because they like you.
100%. That's
I
it.
mean, it doesn't matter if you say that the interests are high. If they like you, they're gonna call you.
Yep.
You know, because you're being honest and you're being truthful. So just do you.
Yeah. So, do you encourage your teammates to get active on social media so they can bring more business?
I do. I don't require them. So my team is different. I mean, you got different teams, right? So you got the teams that depend or force their agents to produce, because that's how the team lead makes money, right? You
Yeah.
give them business, but then they got to give you business
Yep.
back. I don't. So my way of doing business is I want them to take care of my clients. And that's what they do. So they don't have to go out there and be looking for clients and stressing out and having to produce or cold call or do this, because that's not how it works. I want to make sure that they spend the time to take care of my clients. So it's a different way of seeing
Yeah.
a team build a structure, which
So-
is not very common.
Yeah, no, it's not. So, in this market, you guys are doing very, very well.
I'm not, to be honest with you.
No?
Not right now.
Yeah. Okay.
And the reason why is because, so last year, I'm actually one of the top 250.
Congratulations. That's awesome.
Thank you. But this year I took on being the president of NAREB Greater Las Vegas.
Yeah.
So that takes dedication and time. So I kind of, you know, if you ask me, like I always tell people, like if you ask me, my day is 80% NAREP and 20% business right now.
Oh man.
And that's because I have a goal, because, you know, I had a challenge in front of me and I wanted to take it to the next level and I wanted to put the time into it. I didn't think there was no reason for me to join and be part of this if I wasn't going to put the time into it.
100%.
So I knew my business was going to drop. I kind of made up my mind with that. But the connections and what I've been able to learn with the people that I met, like yourself, you know, obviously this will help me take my business to the next level in the coming year.
Yep.
I'll still be as a past president, but not as involved, obviously. So, I mean, next year's going to be way more. Right now, my production is probably half of what it was last year. But I'm, you know, I'm okay, with that for now.
Yeah.
Because what I'm gaining from this is going to be way more than that. So,
what you talked about deciding and dedicating time to NAREP. What is NAREP, and why did you decide you want to take NAREP to the next level?
So NAREP is the National Association of Hispanic Real Estate Professionals. We're a national organization, nonprofit. We have close to about 100 chapters nationwide.
That's awesome.
We have over 40,000 members nationwide. And our main focus is to, we cater to the industry, not to the community, but focusing on the community. So one of the biggest challenges that we're trying to tackle is closing the wealth gap between the Hispanic and the American Caucasian, which is pretty big. It's almost $200,000.
That's crazy.
And how do we do that? By creating generational wealth, teaching the Hispanic community how to diversify their investments, how to be able to invest in real estate, through real estate, obviously, everything. And then not only that, but we also deal with some, you know, how to have access to, you know, capital, you know, to medium, low income, you know, clients, how to deal with, you know, what issues do we have with micromanagement or microeconomic issues, you know, immigration and this and that. So we deal with those issues within the Hispanic community, but we do it through the industry. So our job is to educate the industry in order to be able to help and serve the Hispanic community. Correct.
Yeah, I love that.
Because I mean, if we were to deal with the community, it'd be a little bit more different.
Yeah.
But since we have the ability to transmit what we want to do to you, and then you go on and tell your community, then that's a different story.
Yeah.
And the reason why I did it is because, for one, I was pushed into it by Nora. Thank you, Nora.
You're doing great, Nora.
Yeah, you're doing great, Nora. She's actually our president-elect for the national chapter.
That's awesome.
And but because they needed something, she needed something, and there was something that needed to happen with this chapter, and I took on it, and like she said, when I got installed, she said, when you tell Alfredo to do something, you know, he gets it done.
Yeah.
You know, like I said, I'll follow rules or people die, and if we need this, we need that, I'll make it happen.
I love that.
And right now we're actually making a change to what we do with the chapter, and change the perception of what it was to what it is now. And you see the difference. Like, people want to go to these events. Like, they always call and tell, hey, you know, what are you doing? How can I help? How can I get involved? Like, I want to go to your events. How can I become a member? So that's what we want. And and I was, in the little time that we've been on the board, that I've been on the board, I think we have been able to change that perception and make it better, a better place to learn, to meet other agents, other members of the industry, and become better at what we do.
Yeah, talking about the perception and the image, I think so. Two or three people reached out to me in regards to, like, hey, what do you think about NAREP? Like,
Who did?
I
want names.
One of them was Priscilla.
Okay, good to know.
Yeah, Priscilla.
She was one of our directors.
Yeah. And I forgot. So there was two other people. I don't remember it because it was via a DM, but I remember Priscilla because she's a good friend. She's like, what do you think about, like, when you think about NAREP, what do you think? And I asked, I told her, do you want me to be honest? She's like, 100%, please.
You want me to be honest?
And I was like, I see these, and I told her, I see these groups as like best friend groups. Like, we just get together. Exactly. And I feel that a lot of the times they don't really want to make a genuine change. Instead, they just want to hang out, have a good time, think of like how they can throw events, throw parties and stuff, but not actually make an
impact.
Exactly, like a genuine impact in the community.
Yeah.
And then so we kept in touch, and I was like, man, I'm starting to see the difference now. Like, I'm starting to see the way people are taking it more seriously, and the way people are approaching when they're talking about NARREP, and just in a greater scale, because I have a friend in Arizona who's also part of NARREP, and it's just, you could see it slowly shifting.
Yeah. So being honest, like I'll tell you a little story real quick, but I was involved in NARREP back in 06, 7, 8, 9, 10, somewhere in there, all those years. Alex Garza was president, a good friend of mine. Juan Martinez was president, a good friend. Noah Herrera was president back in the days, and it was a different story. Then somewhere, and I don't want to say with exact numbers, but somewhere between 10, 11, 12, somewhere in there, the mission got lost a little bit. The way I saw it, I'm not saying that it was, but the way I saw it is like the mission got lost. It became like a gentleman's club.
Yeah,
and I was like not up for it. You know. I'm not a big drinker, so I don't go out and drink at night and stuff like that. So to me, it was like mixer, drink, and this and that. And I was like, I don't
too much mixed out.
So a lot of people felt that way, and a lot of people knew that I felt that way. So when I got back into it, they're like, I thought you didn't like that. I said, well, I didn't, but I want to make it different. I want to make it change, and I have a platform where I can actually try and do that and try and make a change, and be able to educate, which is something that I like. You know. And that was one of my missions to do with this chapter. Is like we're going to change that perspective. We're going to change the perspective that there's two chapters and that we fight, which we don't. Yeah. Because that was also up in the air. Yep. I'm going to change that because we have the same mission. We want to be able to help the community, to help the agents, especially now in this time when there's a tough market. I mean, we want to be able to provide some value. Yeah. And how do we support you? How do we help you? What do we need? And I get questions all the time. Hey, so. I say, you need to talk to somebody over there. You need to talk to this person. He can help you in this and that. And that's what I want to do. Like, I want to be able to help as much people as I can. And I'm talking about like agents and realtors or lenders. And I get a lot of questions like, hey, somebody asked me, I need to send leads, this and that. And I said, talk to this lender. They do loans here and here and here. And that's how I put people together, try to help them grow their business as well. So
do you guys make it a thing, or make it something known that, hey, if we have lenders in this group, if we have realtors in this group, or if we have other individuals, we want to support each other's businesses because that's how we're going to spread this word.
We do, but then, in order for us to be able to make events and do the events, we need money, right? In order for us to do money is through sponsorships and partners. So we have our partners and our sponsorship, which, thank you very much. And, they're the ones that make it possible, to be honest with you, because otherwise we wouldn't be able to do anything. And we as directors, we have 12, 13 board of directors. We try to support them as much as possible. So as if I get a question about lending or title or escrow, whatever, then the first way I look is who's sponsoring? Like, who do we work with that can take that business?
I love that. Yeah.
So we try to support them as sponsors in that. And then even referrals. I have a big referral base out, like with social media, so I get clients all over the States. And the first thing I look is when I'm sending a referral is like, okay, let's look at the board directors for Charlotte. Just recently, one of my directors posted on Instagram saying, I need a referral agent in North Carolina. I'm like, have you looked at the board in Carolina? So, because, we're trying to support each other. We call ourselves a NARREP Familia. So we're like, hey, if we can work together and grow your business, because I know they're volunteering and they're wasting their time. And how people think about it. It's like, I'm going to support you this way, Nice. And I get the same thing. Like, I get those back, and that's nice, that's how I do it.
Okay. Yeah. I like that. So somebody that is looking like a quick 20, 30-second spiel, how could they get involved in NARREP?
So if you wanted to get involved in NARREP, first of all, contact one of the directors. You can contact myself if you want, and I'll be more than happy to sit down with you, because that's what I do. I sit down with the agents, title, anybody that wants to know about it, and we sit down, we talk about it, tell what we're all about. And if you decide that's something that you want to get involved with, then by all means, I'll give you the information, and you can become a member. So
awesome. There you go. Yeah. Quick and easy. And before we end the podcast, how can people reach you? And then give me a message that you...
Why you laugh?
That was my producer that laughed, guys. She's laughing. How can people reach you? And a message that you want to, leave to the audience, or leave to realtors, whoever you want.
If you want to reach me, you can type Alfredo Rosales.
On Instagram, YouTube, everywhere.
Yeah, so you can look me up, Alfredo Rosales, in Las Vegas. On Instagram, I think I'm Alfredo Rosales. TikTok, I'm Alfredo Rosales. Facebook and YouTube, Al Día en Bienes Raíces, because that's my show in the mornings, Al Día en Bienes Raíces. But then I also have my personal Facebook,
give your
Alfredo
plug on.
Rosales.
Give your plug on your show in the morning. What is it about?
It's
Really quick.
So we have a show in the mornings. It's called Al Día en Bienes Raíces. It's pretty much real estate. Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursdays at 8 o'clock in the morning. We're live on Facebook and YouTube.
Nice.
And on the 90.9 FM radio.
Yeah.
We're live at the same time. So you can look us up there and we talk about real estate and see what's changing on the market every day. So
I love that.
check it out. Huh? It is in Spanish. Yeah, you have to requirements.
Do you
speak
need the Spanish?
Yeah. But actually, I learned that. So with the little shorts that we do, I was able to put captions in English.
Yeah.
'Cause a lot of people were asking like, you need to do content in English. I'm like, I
I do enough in Spanish.
that's
Come
not
on,
my
man.
base,
Yeah.
But then a lot of agents now that follow me and stuff was like,
They want to see that.
So
yeah.
now I put the captions in English. That way they.
Here you go, sucker.
Yeah. You speak. I listen. Like
Oh,
you
man.
got it.
So a new realtor. So how if people want to join your team, what do you recommend? What do you want to leave them with?
So if you're a new agent or you're an agent that's in struggle right now, that you're going through the whole thing that everybody's going, don't feel alone. We're all going through the same thing, just in different scales. But I would say get in touch with an agent that's maybe a top producer because they might have some, some ways for you to maybe increase your business or help you get some business while things get better. I have some agents that tell me all the time, hey, I want to send this lead somewhere, whatever, or they need somebody to deal with their leads because they're getting more leads than they normally do. So, you might want to try and join the team for a little bit and kind of see how that works. And then learn a little bit more maybe, or at least go through the time that we're going through this. And then eventually in the future, then go on your own again. I would say, there's ways. And we're seeing the numbers drop on agents, leaving the industry just because, they're not getting business. It's hard to get business right now if you don't put in the time and you don't really work on it. But there's other agents that have the business. So maybe reach out to those top producing agents and see what options they have for you. So
Thank you. Yeah.
that would be my advice. So
yeah. Well, Alfredo, thank you so much, man. I appreciate your time. This was awesome. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in. See you on the next one.
And sorry for the cussing.